a group of men in black quietly approached the room, preparing to ambush and kill everyone at the hilltop. However, as the man opened the door, they were surprised to find several gasoline barrels inside. Maggie had anticipated the attack and set a trap. Now, they needed to enter the room, clean up the battlefield, and search for weapons before going after Lance, the mastermind behind the scenes. But Leah was the one who fired the gun. She was careful not to follow the soldiers, so she escaped. Maggie didn't think it was Leah, but they couldn't care less about their sadness and surprise. The most important thing is to get out of here now. Leah, calm and composed, continued to track them. Today would be the day she sought revenge. Half an hour later, Lance and his soldiers arrived at the hilltop, expecting to see Maggie dead. To their surprise, the bodies on the ground were all their own men. He looked at the sky filled with locusts and his anger was uncontrollable. Lance adjusted his emotions. He pulled out his walkie-talkie and asked Leah what her location was. Lance cursed angrily.
Your way got my men killed.
Collateral damage.
Seeing the bosses emotionally disturbed next to the henchman said, "We have a lot of manpower has arrived now in 30 kilometers of scattered search. Surely we can find them." Meanwhile, Gabriel and the others are worried about Maggie and they are also heading towards the hilltop, killing a soldier on the way. They stumbled upon a temporary campsite with some leftover supplies. Searching for clues on the ground, Gabriel found something. Daryl recognized it. The three of them felt bad. Leah's appearance here was undoubtedly for revenge against Maggie, possibly in collaboration with the villain Lance. Daryl is in a hurry and suggests that the three of them split up to find out where those bastards are as soon as possible. Maggie and the others have escaped to a wooded area where the zombies are slowing them down. Maggie suggested Lydia and Cole go ahead, leaving her to lure the pursuers. Whether it was Leah or Lance, their target was her. Lydia and Cole didn't linger unnecessarily. Indeed, staying behind would only hinder their movements. After they left, Maggie remained calm. She took out her pistol and loaded it. In fact, Leah wanted to kill her. Why would she not want to eliminate the root of the problem? Soon, they crossed paths. Maggie wasted no time and fired the first shot. Leah's screams ring out and it looks like she should have been hit. Maggie caught up, finding bloodstains extending into the distance. Maggie moved forward cautiously. Leah had been hit, but it wasn't a fatal wound. When Maggie regained consciousness, she found herself bound to a chair, with Leah raising a pistol toward her. Maggie struggled, but her hands were securely tied, making it difficult to break free. In an effort to buy time, Maggie spoke. "I know you won't kill me right now because you don't want it to be that simple. If you wanted me dead, you would have acted already." Leah, upon hearing this, reluctantly lowered her gun, acknowledging the truth. Remembering Maggie's past betrayal and ruthless actions that led to the death of her family, Leah was determined to make Maggie experience the same pain. Meanwhile, Lance, accompanied by soldiers, was heading toward their location as Leah had left markings along the way. Maggie continued to talk, diverting Leah's attention from her and buying time to loosen the ropes. When the moment seemed right, Maggie began using words to taunt. "I killed your people because I wanted to. If you can't accept that, then just shoot me." Suddenly, Maggie shook off the ropes, kicked away Leah's weapon, and swiftly grabbed her gun hand. They engaged in a physical struggle. Soon, Maggie gained the upper hand, first disarming Leah of her handgun and then delivering a punch to Leah's face. Maggie seized the opportunity to take a knife from Leah. However, Leah, reacting quickly, pushed Maggie down, both armed with short knives. They stared fiercely at each other. These are two pure fighters who can't be seen as soft women. Maggie was thrown straight to the ground when she was careless. Leah took the opportunity to press on top of her. Then she beat Maggie with one punch after another. Leah used almost all of her body's strength. Leah then drew a short knife, intending to end Maggie's life. Leah met her demise this way, and Maggie breathed a sigh of relief when Daryl arrived. Daryl killed his ex-girlfriend with his own hands. I wonder what kind of mood he's in. Noticing soldiers outside, Daryl aimed at Lance and fired. Uncertain if the shot hit its mark, it wasn't the time to linger. On the other side, soldiers had also surrounded the area. Daryl helped Maggie up, and they quickly retreated. Lance almost died here. Lance angrily took the soldiers and rushed up to the house. He had to break this bastard into pieces. However, upon entering the house, they found Leah lying lifeless on the ground. They've escaped through the window. Lance hadn't had so many failures since he became governor of the Commonwealth, and this time he almost died. Meanwhile, Daryl and Maggie had distanced themselves from the cabin. Maggie's face was stained with blood, mostly hers but also some from Leah. A little while later Aaron and Gabriel came to join them, and it was like they were back in the days when they were fighting with Rick. Although death could come at any moment, they were all on the road together. The once inexperienced group had matured and could stand on their own. On the other side, Negan also told the people in the cave to come out. Sooner or later they would be found by the carpet search. Everyone, including Negan, was now without a home. The next day Lance had his soldiers take over the Alexandria safe zone and fly the flag of the Commonwealth. The hilltop faced a similar fate. Someday Lance would move some of his people to live in it, and then he would have a force of his own. Lance, walking confidently in Oceanside, wore a triumphant expression. Despite some deviations, he had achieved some of his goals. All the people here have been arrested because he thinks they're all on Maggie's side. Daryl skillfully dodged the attacks of the zombies, swiftly eliminating them with a well-placed strike. His agile movements and adept skills made dealing with the zombies seem effortless. Before they could catch their breath, gunshots echoed from outside. They looked out the window to see none other than that scoundrel Lance. He had taken over their home and was conducting a thorough search and hunt against them. Suddenly, footsteps behind them signaled someone's approach. They positioned themselves, ready for anything. It turns out that Gabriel and Aaron are back from scouting outside. Almost killed one of their own. Maggie was taken aback, panicking at the sight of Negan, fearing something had happened to her son. Annie quickly explained that he, along with Lydia and others, was safe and hiding in a secure location. Gabriel believed that since they had already clashed with Lance, it might jeopardize their friends still in the Commonwealth. The priority should be to go back and bring them out. However, Aaron immediately rejected the idea, fearing that returning to the Commonwealth meant passing through checkpoints. Maggie, on the other hand, was concerned about the safety of the hilltop residents. In the midst of conflicting opinions, Daryl urged everyone to calm down, presenting a compromise. He pointed at Negan, noting that everyone had overlooked something. These people hadn't seen Negan before, and he could act as a new recruit to pass through the checkpoint. Meanwhile, the rest could stay and deal with the soldiers. Negan didn't refuse. Now was the time he could truly help everyone. He reassured his wife that he would be back soon. The journey to the Commonwealth was long, so they devised a plan. Meanwhile, two soldiers patrolling in a vehicle encountered a group of zombies ahead. Unfazed, they got out to clear the zombies, not suspecting anything unusual. After a round of shooting, the zombies fell. However, one of the men failed to notice another group approaching from the side. Another soldier wanted to come to the rescue, but it was too late. He could only kill a few zombies to avenge his companions, but he didn't realize that a tall figure was behind him, and it was Negan who attacked him. He grabbed the soldier's gun and radio, tossing them under the opposite car. At the same time, the door of the opposite car opens and a hand reaches out and picks up the gun and walkie-talkie. It's Daryl who opens the door. It's part of the plan. He intended to continue hiding there, waiting for Lance to arrive. Half an hour later, Lance found the place in a sorry state, and to add to his annoyance, the car had been driven away too. He didn't even have to think about the fact that those people were trying to get to the Commonwealth. The bad signal made Lance furious, and absolutely no way these people should be allowed to get to the Commonwealth. He ordered his men to try to get a signal from another location, and as soon as they did, to tell the community that Daryl had betrayed the Commonwealth. If that car approached the wall, they were to eliminate them without hesitation. Suddenly, the sneak attacker was Daryl, who sadly still couldn't kill Lance. The soldier's intercom goes off, and the men inside say they've seen the stolen car. Daryl's location is so good that no one can do anything about it, and he kills several soldiers instead. Lance signaled his two men to follow him, planning to flank Daryl from behind. Daryl had disappeared. It was the first time Lance had ever met an opponent who could drive him crazy, but what he didn't realize was that Daryl had already sneaked into the car. Lance raised his pistol to shoot, but his shots went astray. Ultimately, he could only watch as Daryl made a clean getaway. Meanwhile, Negan was driving on the road, initially heading west. Negan hadn't expected to be noticed. Two soldiers pursued him relentlessly, with one of them firing shots. If not for Negan's swift reactions, he would have been shot dead. Despite accelerating, he couldn't shake off the soldiers. Capture or death seemed inevitable at this rate. Negan checked the rearview mirror and was certain someone had come to help. He didn't stop the car. His mission was too critical. Daryl exited the vehicle unharmed, watching Negan depart with relief, hoping he would successfully reach the Commonwealth. Inside the Commonwealth, their old friends had done something big. Do you remember when Sebastian forced Daryl and Rosita to steal money from the zombies? And a lot of civilians have died before them, due to Pamela's son being involved. They were warned not to speak of it. Rosita, however, felt the civilians deserved to know the truth and couldn't be pawns in the Milton family's games. It all started 3 days ago, she informed Eugene, and together they decided to expose the Milton family's ugliness through the newspaper. So they called up Connie and Kelly, who were journalists, to expose the story through the newspaper, and they were old friends who wouldn't rat them out. Connie was furious when she heard what had happened, but then she remembers something and pulls out a list of names from her backpack that someone had slipped into her room. Rosita took a look and found the name of the deceased woman they had encountered earlier. Only there were only about 200 people on the list. Sebastian had killed more than that. Connie, true to her reputation as a journalist, says that the Milton family scandal must have been well hidden by officials, and that they need an insider to find out what's going on, but they don't know anyone like that, and even if they did, they wouldn't risk it for them. Then Eugene coughed. The person Eugene was looking for was naturally Pamela's secretary, Maxine. Maxine led Eugene to a secluded room. Upon learning that Eugene had asked her for help in finding secret files, she advised, "We should stay away from trouble rather than inviting it." Stephanie's affairs were just settling down and Alexandria's safe zone was being rebuilt and things were looking up. As she was about to finish speaking, Eugene continued, stating that the scoundrel had caused deaths, and many civilians had inexplicably disappeared. Your brother Michael can confirm that he was there. Maxine couldn't believe her brother, whom she thought was upright, could witness such events. The situation became awkward. After Maxine left, she went straight to the gym where Michael was working out. She directly questioned Michael about why he had concealed the disappearance of civilians. However, Michael told Maxine that it wasn't her concern and advised her not to get involved. The Commonwealth wasn't a perfect place, and the issues she mentioned weren't anything new. Maxine disagreed with this viewpoint, asserting that everyone had the right to survive, and her brother could do more to change the place. In the end, the siblings parted ways on bad terms due to their differing opinions. In the evening, Maxine visited Eugene's room. Seeing her distressed expression, Eugene continuously apologized for his actions during the day, acknowledging it had been somewhat tactless and morally coercive. Every individual has their own thoughts, and not everyone would stand up for such matters. Eugene's approach indeed bordered on being overbearing. However, to Eugene's surprise, Maxine's sense of justice surpassed his expectations. She firmly expressed her determination to change the place and not wait for others to take a stand. Eugene was relieved. This was the Stephanie he knew. Boldly, he took Maxine's hand. A heartfelt and resolute confession left Maxine enchanted. She was proud to love a person daring enough to overturn the chessboard. A true man.